Good evening, and welcome to this edition of The Message, live from the Watering Hole. I am your host, Messenger Ryan L. King, and I am excited to be with you this evening on this very great day. It was a very, for lack of a better term, or well, to keep consistent with the theme of this broadcast, aka Addict Day. Lots of rain, lots of wind, things, council closed, and all the other type of those. Just a bunch of chaos, right? But welcome. And this show is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society of Knowledge is an interdenominational religious spiritual organization. We welcome members, persons from all backgrounds, beliefs, understandings to come and sup with us. And we look forward again to a great show this evening. And the message today will be speaking on, here it is there for you, Order from Chaos. Subtext, imagination of the thoughts of one's heart. Right, we'll get into that in a second. But before we do, excuse me, I'd like to go ahead on and let's see here, recite the acknowledgement of the Society of Knowledge. And again, we welcome members or persons from all different backgrounds, beliefs, faiths, etc. And there is a term in this acknowledgement, and it is the term God. Right? Now, again, coming from different backgrounds and beliefs, you may have come to call that or know that energy as something else. You know, may come to know him as Allah, Buddha, not say him, but that energy, right? What is that energy? You know, and that is an energy that we understand to have not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. And we'll go ahead on and get into it. I know that everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, is a piece of God. I know that everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. I know that everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. I know that God has a master plan for all time and all creation. I know that God is Almighty. Excuse me. Excuse me, just a second. Excuse me. So, like I mentioned, the topic of the night, order from chaos. Right? Now, within that acknowledgement, as you can see in that second to last line there speaks something about a master plan, right? That sounds like a bit of order to me. But we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it, right? Let's see here. We have someone here with us in the studio, a very special guest here tonight. Let's see here. Very near and dear to my heart, Sister Icy. What to say? What to say? Uh-oh. How we doing tonight?
We're doing well. I'm thankful.
Beautiful. All right. So you saw the subject matter in the game. We won't be here long. We won't be here long tonight. Excuse me. Won't be here long tonight, but we will be here. We got a few words. Uh, all of what you come to hear on this show this evening, you know, is not endorsed by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. Again, we welcome persons from all faith backgrounds, beliefs. So anything you hear on this show this evening, right? Take it, quote, with a grain of salt. Right? Do your own research, do your own studies, do your own internal work. Reflect on this message, if you will, on this subject matter, if you will, and come to your own perspective, gather your own thoughts. But the main purpose of this show here tonight, and in addition to provoking some sort of thought, provoking you to think, it is to deliver the message that God is Almighty. That message has been proclaimed. As so, we shall move forward. Say,
Excuse me?
say what you say. As you've heard the subject matter. I have a few words on it, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it. As you are one of our guests here tonight. When you first hear that terminology, order from chaos, what kind of sparks your mind? You have any questions about that, or any comments or anything?
Well, I would say order to chaos to order. I think all things have to first start off in chaos to make order out of it. To like see everything that you have and then arrange it in an orderly way.
Interesting. And that brings to mind one of the things I wanted to address tonight or point out tonight. And I want to speak on in terms of everything start from chaos. That you can read that if you have access to a Christian Bible or let's see here, not with Judaism, the Judaic Bible, right? It in that first book in Genesis, it speaks about when the earth was formed. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Right? So that sounds like a bunch of chaos to me. Right? To some that may not sound like chaos, but to me that sounds like chaos, a chaotic situation. It presents almost a blank slate, when you say without form. Right? The absence of matter and all this other type of thing. Next thing you know, God wants to create and bring an order to the universe. So it was presented with an opportunity, right? A chaotic situation. And being God, it took that opportunity and created an order from it. So I see exactly what you're saying with that. I can see that. And what about in those situations where it appears to be some order already? Is it possible to create order from order?
Yes, I think so. I mean, you can like create a new order. It can be like it can be ordered in such a way, but maybe that way isn't conducive anymore. So you rearrange it in a different way.
So what you're saying is, somebody could be in an organization and they may have an idea for something, and that idea is based off of the present circumstances or what have you. And to them, those circumstances are chaotic, and so they're bringing this new idea because it may establish some sort of order. Is that what you're saying? Or
What
something?
I'm saying, well, that yes. What I'm saying, like the way that it's ordered already could be good and proper, but there could be another way. There and there's nothing wrong with the order that's already there, but there are, you know what I mean? There could be another way.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a great point. That's like if we are, well, leave it that great point. That's a great point. There may not be nothing wrong with the order as it is, but you just want to see something different.
Right.
Maybe like how people rearrange their furniture and things, right?
Right.
It would be something with the feng shui, huh?
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. So just not it's a good order, but it's not conducive to one's.
It brings a bit of freshness or something, just something new,
Freshness. Gotcha. So just order, right? So this order. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm with it. I can see that. Let me see here in the game. Yeah. From what it sounds like, order is relative. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair. That's
All
fair.
right. All
Because
right.
even chaos is order to somebody.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people like to live in a chaotic state that would seem chaotic to one person, but to the next person is like, this is easy for me to move through, you know?
Hmm. I've been in people's offices and in people's labs where it looked like stuff is just everywhere.
Right.
So you've been so me coming in, I may suggest or I may take my own initiative and try to arrange some papers or something in a right way, or whatever, and then they come back behind me and say, "Wow, why you messed up my
Right.
all that other type of thing."
I knew where it was. It was everything was where it was.
Right. I can see that. I can see that. So again, the relativity of order. And I like to put something up on the screen. You got any more thoughts on that matter particularly?
Not at the moment. I'm
Mhm.
I'm here.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Now, I don't have any script or anything like that. No storyboard. I know on a lot of these type of broadcasts or whatnot, people got storyboards and things. I'm just gonna go ahead on and add this here to the screen. What does that look like to you, the viewing audience? What does that look like there? What would you say that is? Ice.
Um, I would say it looks like a bunch of randomness.
Bunch of randomness, a little bit of chaos.
Right. It looks very like just chaos. Yes, I
Oh,
would say.
yeah. All right, so we have another esteemed guest here in the building tonight. Brother, Messenger Tatum High. How we doing this evening?
Peace and infinite blessings, fam. Everything is everything. I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Righteous. It's great to see you in the building. We're speaking on this evening, Order from Chaos. Order from Chaos. And when you first hear that, if you have any thoughts you'd like to share on that, what you got?
Yeah. So, story of my life.
All right.
It's the story of my life. I'm speaking to you in a tongue from a place I'm not from originally. I'm not from England, but I'm speaking English. You know what I mean? One of my Spanish speaking brothers, I work with him daily, and he's originally from Guatemala.
Mm-hmm.
I said, bro, what was y'all people speaking before y'all was speaking Spanish? He never considered it.
Wow.
So now we find ourselves in a social construct, and there's certain rules, certain standards, certain so-called norms, and none of those components taught me who I was. And so me not knowing who I am with regards to the historical contributions of my ancestors, that was chaotic. That was complete chaos. I advocate that someone not having the knowledge of themselves is the greatest crime they could ever commit. It's chaos when you don't have the reference point, which is having the knowledge of yourself, because everywhere you go, there you are. That reference point needs to be established. And so when I realized that I was a byproduct of miseducation, a byproduct of not knowing anything of my ancestors' contributions prior to the enslavement or the kidnapping, and I realized that was a very hectic place to think from. And where there's confusion, there is chaos, and peace is the absence of confusion. And so when you have the absence of confusion, then you get in the realm of striving to make order out of not knowing, and you can begin to have a greater grasp on outcomes and be able to better determine and steer and navigate outcomes. Not that we're gonna have everything figured out, but you can begin to make sense of things when you apply the mind, understanding mind over matter, because these matters in our life are controlled or navigated by thoughts. We know and understand the effect of thought on circumstances. That's one way I look at it. Another way I look at it is if order, like I'm going to order a pizza from chaos. It's like everything on the menu that I see in the social construct teaches me to be other than myself. It gives me limitation. You know what I mean? They don't teach me that we're supreme beings. They don't teach us that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. You know what I'm saying? Things that could empower us. Instead, I contemplate when I'm alone the reality of what it means to be born a sinner. To me, knowing that my people are destroyed from not knowing certain things, they say destroyed from lack of knowledge. Then you're born not knowing. But what happens if you was born to two parents who had knowledge of themselves and they just poured into you knowledge, which is factual information, wisdom, which is the ability to apply it in real time, understanding, which shows you that you're on your way. What if you was getting that from birth? Could you really be told that you're born a sinner? Because then you got tools to really be an upright being, to be righteous, to be a divine entity, knowing and understanding that we are our energy housed in this physical shell. We're not just some physical junk. You know what I'm saying? And so the quality of one's life is determined by the nature of their thoughts. So what happens allow you to have order in your life when your steps are ordered, instead of you ordering from the menu of chaos, which is what you get when you were given those limitations. And with that, I yield.
No, that was powerful, man. And to the second point, you remember address that first. You spoke of something, about born into sin. Okay, I look at that as you being born, right, into a system and not knowing what that system is all about, right? And so you in your natural state, like you were saying, in terms of what if both of your parents have knowledge and understanding of self, they pour that into you. Now, if you are born into a system, into a social construct, as you were speaking about, right, your understanding or your perspective, it may not align with that social construct. And so according to that, you would be considered to have been born into sin, because everything that you do is going to go against the grain almost. And that reminds me, I was doing a little bit of reflecting on this, and I came upon a story of Noah and about the flood. And in the beginning of that chapter 6 of Genesis, it talks about, let me see here. It spoke about it in paragraph verse 5, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Right? And so to me, what that was speaking on is that, and this is why let me give you a little bit of backstory, a couple more verses. Okay. They were talking about the sons of God, so the daughters of men were fair, and they took them wives and all of that. Then they started talking about the giants on the earth, and the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bare children, and the same became mighty men, which were of old and men of renown. Right? And so now these persons that started to be born, right, they were starting to go against the order that was established. So everything that they were thinking in their mind, and out of their subconscious, and it's interesting you use this term about order. About ordering from the chaos. And when you said that, it made me think, this chaos being the subconscious mind, right? It's order down there, but to you, your consciousness is a bit of chaos. And so when you order from that heart, from your heart, right, you can bring that into this reality. But we're speaking on that. And so like, all right, so now these people, they talk about this child being born with these two parents, right? He knows himself and all this other type of thing, right? Creating his own construct, and this goes back to something what Isaac was talking about earlier, in terms of, it may be a perfect order, but you see something different. There's nothing wrong with it, but you want something different, right? And so using your power as a God in the flesh, you have that authority to begin to create your own order. And so being born into sin, coming back to that, you creating your own reality. Now you're going against the social construct. You're going against the established order. Right? So is there actually a place for you there? Right? Now God gonna do whatever, that construct gonna do whatever it's got to do to bring you back into line. Right? It's gonna tell you, it's gonna tell you all kind of things bad about you. Your thoughts are evil and all this other type of stuff until you get back into line. But the reality of it, as God's on earth, we can create our own reality from the chaos of the environment, the circumstances, and all the other type of thing. Yeah, we can come together and mastermind this whole situation, create whatever order we want to create. And that's the thrust of it right there. If you ask me. Yeah, and in my statement of understanding, that I refer to often, that is up there on the screen, is 2 sentences. I like to point out, like to pull out, and you can see them on the bottom of the screen there. That which is all things. Of course, we are all instrumentalities of that which is all things, but it works through me and all its instrumentalities, perceptions of itself, to produce the illusion that I and the flesh perceive as reality. Right? And then the second one, I know that I, made in the image and likeness of that which is all things, work in concert with all other instrumentalities of that which is all things to produce, enjoy, and maintain this perceived reality. Yeah. And so what that's saying is, as we've been talking about here in these last few minutes, the universe is order. Yeah, it's order. But it's also chaos. And I'm gonna put this here image up on the screen. Okay. So you have that which is all things. Everything is within that circle, that outside circle. But then within that, each of us will represent one of those smaller circles. So to us, from our vantage, it may look a bit chaotic. Right? All these things are going on. All these things are happening. Right? And then, as you can see, some of these circles, they intersect, cross over. So these circles are coming together and building a construct, an illusion, right? A reality amongst themselves that they enjoy and maintain. Right? So that's essentially the point I wanted to get across tonight. That everything is, it may seem chaotic, but we have the power to bring order to that. And even us bringing that order to that, it's just a matter of that which is all things using us to create an illusion for itself to enjoy. Yeah. Not yell with that. The floor is open. What y'all got on?
Yo, I wanted to speak on reality. I know exactly what you meant when you said what you said about creating our reality. My add-on is that we're acknowledging reality. It's already created. What we're doing, we're making paths within the reality. You understand what I'm saying? And it's and gaining awareness of oneself is gaining awareness of all things. So it's a matter of recognizing that relationship between yourself and the universe, because that's the reality. That's real. We don't have to create it. But like Erykah Badu said on her song, she said, "The world is mine when I wake up." So it's like things come to you when you gain awareness of them, and they appear to be something that's new when it was already there. It's just your acknowledgement is fresh, your awareness is fresh, and so with the things that become accessible to us when we gain awareness of them, feels like we created them, you know, because now we have access to them, and that's a blessing. I just wanted to acknowledge that to a grand extent, we put things in motion. We could call it creation because we're creators, we're creative. You know, when I create music, you know, it wasn't available on anyone else's album until I made it. So like we definitely have the power to bring things in motion, put things in you know, in a universe for other people to be able to bear witness to. So I dig what you're saying. I was just expressing that it's like in the creation process, knowing that knowledge is infinite, when you dig within that infinite well of substance and pull something out that people ain't never seen, I think that's the beauty of knowing that we are uniquely placed, you know, unique qualities and characteristics that we each have, with which to experience Ubuntu. I am because we are because I am. I yield with that.
Right. And that just kind of sold it all up right there. And that sold it all up. You know, as we come into a greater understanding or realization of our relationship to that which is all things, you know, we began to establish these relationships. We began to create, if you will, from drawing all these different components from around us. You know, we start connecting the dots, you know, and creating this illusion or what have you that we began to walk into. You know, and that reminds me of the passage where they say about God, you know, created all of this world or whatnot, and then he came and dwelt in the flesh. Right? So he created this illusion and then went and dwelt in it. From all of the chaos and all of that, and you know, people was doing this over there, people doing that over there, etc., etc. Then God came and ordered that. You know, to this day, we speak of that as Christianity, you know, which is interesting to me. You know, how even to this day, thousands of years later, we living in a construct of someone else's mind, out of something that they went down deep into their subconscious to get, deep into their heart to get, pulled it out, gave it to the world, and now we still recognize that or acknowledge that today is something that exists. You know, but we have that same power. Yeah. Now, yeah, with that. Let's see.
Real briefly, and this is it for me. Could you show that image that you showed earlier with the circles, those ciphers? Are you able to pull that back up? I just want.
There you go.
All right, so I'm a scientist. I first think of a petri dish, and looking at something under a microscope. However, my attention is not drawn to the circles, the ones that are overlapping, the ones that are by themselves, the ones that are touching. I'm focused on the exterior, on the outside of the circle, the white. That's also coexisting with the circles. So my attention wasn't drawn to none of the circles. I was looking at all the white. And then I looked at the black frame around it on my phone, because I'm talking to y'all on my phone. And then everything else I'm seeing, and then panning out and seeing what's in the room. You know what I'm saying? So I was just on a whole little journey. It's like when they say, you know, you got to think outside of the box. And people say, what box? What circles? I yield with that.
Righteous. What you say, righteous.
The only thing that I wanted to say was, like, when you look back and you recognize that in a moment, it seems like everything in your life or everything in your life was so chaotic and everything. But if you really zoom out and reflect, like, all of those things had to happen to get you to, like, this point. And it was like a perfect order to, like, how everything was happening exactly, like, perfect, you know? So it seemed chaotic from a very zoomed in perspective, like, oh my God, what is all this happening? But zoomed out, it was like, it was flowing so effortlessly, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
You know, I'm with that. You know, you spoke earlier. Excuse me. We spoke earlier about how you look at a blade of grass, excuse me, and it may be growing, kind of leaning to the left a little bit or whatever, right? It may be a little shorter than the other ones around it. And you wonder, why is that blade of grass growing like that? But then as you zoom out, continue to zoom out, in that spot, somebody might have stepped on that spot a couple of days ago, it caused that grass to do whatever. It might have been under the shade of the tree or something like that, and it ain't get as much of sunlight as the grass around and all this other type of thing, the wind and the rain and all this other type. But as you continue to zoom out, you see how, the order to all things, it touches on that principle of cause and effect. Right? How far back is your vision to be able to see why you're doing what you're doing today? What was that first cause that created the order which we exist in today? Is there any benefit to even looking that far back? Or is it acceptable to just accept the way things appear to be as is and build off of that? Doesn't matter, perhaps, maybe so. But from your own vantage at this moment, with the chaos around you, even your internal quote order, right, is chaotic. Right? Can you you may be fighting a cold or something like that. That's chaos, right? Now, can you use all of what's in your environment to rectify, bring order to that, right? Are you relegated to go to the store and buy some cough medicine or whatever? Or can you go in your backyard and find some herbs in the garden and create order from that? So all these tools at your disposal in your environment, you have the authority, the power to create order for yourself. Yeah. Now, with that, what we got? Any closing thoughts?
My elders taught me. Go ahead, Isis. I apologize.
No, the only thing that I wanted to say that chaos, when you really think about it, it's an illusion. Really, it's not even a real thing. It's like there is no such thing as chaos. You know what I mean? Everything is already. So you just have
sound like that master plan, huh? God has a master plan for all time and all creation.
Right. Yeah. Right. So just to accept the space, and know that there is an order to this. There is no such thing as chaos.
So be present. Enjoy it as it is. I'm with you. What to say, brother messenger?
When I first came on the call, I said peace is infinite blessings, and I said everything is everything.
That's it.
That's what sister said, right?
Yes,
and
yes, sir.
She dropped something profound and made me think about something my elders told me a long time ago. They said you only lose when you lose the lesson. And so I contemplate how much more smoothly, how sooner I would have reached desired outcomes had I honed in on the lesson earlier. And when you decide to get it, you tend not to see yourself repeating the things that you were bound to or that you struggled with before. Once you accept that, I'm going to go ahead and extract this lesson and keep it moving. So again, when I focus on striving to see the inner meanings of things, to extract the lesson, I tend to have I don't want to say quicker, but I tend to have the victory with less difficulty than before. To struggle against it. I'd rather go with the flow of the wisdom that guides me. And I find myself to have greater outcomes and peace every day. And so when situations come, like you said, battling sickness, I've battled the sickness before. I knew I was going to beat it as soon as I got the diagnosis. So you got that type of understanding because, it's a thing. You know what I mean? It ain't even chaos. It's just, something to experience, and I'm gonna get through it because I'll gather the resources, whether it be thoughts, whether it be people, whether it be actually physical items, to help me get over it or get through it. With that, I yield.
Righteous. You know, and Napoleon Hill in this book thing he wrote is a quote. It said, quitters never win and winners never quit. Yeah, that speaks directly to what you was just saying. You know, if you see every situation as an opportunity to learn something new, whether some person outside of it would look at that as a defeat, you know, that's up to you to either accept that as a defeat or extract the lesson and apply that in your next plan to move forward. Right? And so that all these things, you know, if that's the mindset, you never lose. You always win. You know, you always recognize the order within that apparent chaos. You know, like Sister Aisha said, ain't no chaos. You know? But can you zoom out far enough to be able to see the victory? Right? To see the order in all of these things. Right? I'm grateful that you two joined us this evening, riding with us. You know, it's a powerful discussion. You know, I pray that, you know, this video, it reaches somebody out there. You know, I know for sure it's gonna reach everybody whom it's supposed to reach. You know, because again, it's order within this chaos. You know, but you know, hopefully everybody, you got something from this tonight. Again, I enjoyed the time. I enjoyed the energy that you invested into this, the success of this broadcast here. You know, I look forward, you know, continuing to build, you know, on this conversation, you know, and on all these conversations that we're having as we continue to order our reality as we see fit. You know, now I have too many more words than that. If either of you two have anything else you'd like to close with, the floor is yours. All right, like they say in those meetings, you know, hearing none.
I just want to say acceptance.
That's it.
Just to accept everything is perfect already. And in that, you can be at peace.
That's it. That's it. I received that 100%. And again, until next time, you are tuned into the message live from the watering hole. And I look forward to seeing you again here in 2 weeks. I'm not sure exactly what that date is, but 2 weeks from today on February the 7th, a great day actually, the 7th day of the month, number 7, about creating order from chaos, and number 7 that speaks directly to that, you know, ordering your reality, manifesting the desires of your heart, of your subconscious mind, if you will. But until next time, again, remember, God is almighty, and in any way, I pray that give you peace. Peace.